Horror Coast to Coast is a movie review podcast featuring strong language, horror film spoilers, and discussions of violence, gore, and disturbing subject matter. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Horror Coast to Coast, where we review horror movies from opposite sides of the continental U.S. From a blood-soaked garage in a Massachusetts suburb, I'm Brian.
And from the California streets lined with people currently vomiting blood, I'm Michelle.
This week we're reviewing Deathgasm from 2015, written and directed by Jason Leigh Howden.
So, the summary is two teenage boys unwittingly summon an ancient evil entity known as the Blind One by delving into black magic while trying to escape their mundane lives.
Alright, so I immediately just want to call that out. There's a band of 4 people and they just erased 2 of them.
100%.
Which I'll get into it later, but yeah, that's exactly how these characters in this movie are treated.
Yes, no kidding. But also, it says unwittingly, and I don't know. Brody knows what's going on.
Yeah, that's true too. So, not our most accurate summary, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Alright, so the very beginning, we start with our main character, Brody, and he is moving to Gray Point to live with his uncle after his mother was institutionalized because she sucked off a mall Santa in a crowded mall and was institutionalized in a mental hospital.
Okay. Yeah, that's how it starts.
So that sets up the tone.
Let me add one thing, because we do give a disclaimer for inappropriate content, and let me just reiterate that this movie is like triple that. It is pretty inappropriate. And also the whole movie takes place in New Zealand, which was kind of fun. But yeah, so that's the background. And I also wanted to say before that part comes up, the opening was this like little short black and white gore thing. And I have to say, I really love like tasteful gore rendered in black and white. I think the last time I've seen it was it in like the Kill Bill movies, that there are like
Yeah.
black and white scenes of like just the whole scene is filled with gore and blood and you can tell what's going on, but it's like palatable because it's in black and white, right? I love that. Okay, so that was the first thing I noticed.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. I did not think the word tasteful was gonna appear on this episode.
Oh, well, okay. That's the only place I could probably use it. No, I mean, they tastefully cut off someone's dick later, but that's, ironically tasteful. Anyway, I also wrote, so fun. Oh my God, yes.
All right, so Brody's moved in with his very Christian uncle and his very Christian cousin David, who's a total dick and who hates his guts.
Word.
David is maybe the most one-dimensionally dickish character I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah.
He only has one mode, and it's be a dick.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's not just like that to his cousin, he's like that to everyone. That's literally his
Yeah.
job. He has one job, and to his credit, he did it well.
It doesn't take long for Brody to make some friends. He immediately befriends Dion and Giles, who are a couple D&D playing nerds and are the 2 aforementioned characters that were left out of the summary.
Yeah, and I love how Dion is introduced where he's like, "Hey, bro, you wanna do something totally badass?" And of course, Brody's like,
Yeah.
"Absolutely." And it cuts to them in, like, a side classroom playing D&D during their lunch hour. Just very funny.
And this reminded me of season 3 of Stranger Things. Have you seen that?
Yes.
When did this like metalhead and nerds being best friends thing come about? Because I feel like that's not a real thing in my experience.
I don't know, But I absolutely thought of Stranger Things. And I can't even remember that guy's name, but when he joins their little group, that's exactly the moment I thought of. I should have looked it up
Yeah.
though
Yeah, it's
because
hard not to think of that.
I should have looked it up though because I knew that you were going to make that connection too.
Yeah. Brody also meets another metalhead. His name is Zach. He meets him in a record store. Zach plays bass, so the four of them start a band. And after making a few vulgar suggestions for band names, they land on the title of the movie, Deathgasm, which is Zach's idea.
Right.
All caps, because lowercase is for pussies, of course.
And there's a little montage of Brody and Zach's early friendship where he says, Zach and I immediately got up to all kinds of like shenanigans and we did all kinds of fucked up things and destructive things. And one of the things they do is burn the words Hail Satin on the school field. I don't know if you noticed
Wait,
that.
did it say satin? I didn't even
Yeah.
catch that.
Yeah. They're talking about all the crazy pranks that they pulled, and it pans out to them the words "Hail Satin" burned on the field. Very funny.
Yeah, it did not occur to me that that didn't say Satan. I guess I wasn't paying that close attention.
Yeah, I just noticed it, so I wrote it down. "Hail Satin," LOL.
Yeah, so Zach and Brody, they do a little arson, a little breaking and entering.
Mm.
They break into apparently an old metal legend's name, Ricky Dagger. Apparently he just like lives in this abandoned house, like playing dead.
No, so the story I got is that Ricky Daggers was the lead singer of this metal group that was really famous at one point. I don't know when they were famous, and I didn't catch the name of the band because the font on all the records was, like, just crazy and covered in blood and whatever. So, I have no idea what the name of the band that he was in was, but both Zach and Brody are into his music specifically. And so Brody or sorry, Zach is like, "Hey, let's go somewhere." And it turns out this guy Ricky Daggers suddenly just like dropped off the map, disappeared. And Zach says, word on the street is that he is hiding out in a little town in New Zealand. And Brody's like, oh, you mean like this town? And he's like, oh, yes. And this is his house. So I think somehow Zach stumbles on this house and realizes that it's Ricky Dagger's house. And then so, to like impress his friend, he brings him along, and I mean, I really don't know what the goal was there. It did seem like a cool idea to be like, my idol is, like, laying low and I've found him. I would definitely bring my friend and be like, "Guess who I found?"
See, my read on it was that it was an abandoned house that they thought was the house that Ricky Daggers abandoned. And upon like going there to basically like look for cool Ricky Daggers memorabilia, they just find the guy himself looking like a corpse at first, but then like jump scaring them awake. And it was a very strange scene. It seemed because he was just sitting there like in a dirty, abandoned looking building with the lights out.
Well, I thought he was asleep.
Yeah, I guess. And I guess he's hiding from this guy
Aeon?
Aeon.
Yeah,
When Zach and Brody startle him, he assumes that Aeon sent them, and they're like, "Who the hell is Aeon? We're just huge fans." And then Aeon or his men just show up, and Brody and Zach take off, and then they slit Ricky Dagger's throat.
right. But Ricky Daggers wakes up and is like, "You need to keep this in a safe place." And he gives them the album that they were just trying to steal, and there's no reveal as to why he did that immediately. So they take it and they leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, right as they leave, an actual person who is sent by Aeon shows up and he slits his throat. Yeah.
Okay. So Aeon is the leader of like a satanic cult, basically, and this character just sucks.
Yes. I was
He's
absolutely going to
so
say,
badly done.
I hated it. I was like, this is so dumb. And like,
He's not intimidating or funny.
yeah, I also feel like the goal there was comedy. I mean, obviously, when he's like, "You should have put a tarp down. Do it again." And I'm thinking, ooh, are they gonna like bring him back to life just so they can kill him again? That would be cool. No, they literally like
No, that would
mime.
be interesting.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, is he that powerful that he can just like bring him back to life just for the sake of having them kill him in the right way? Like, I thought there was literally going to be like a redo, but it's this goofy one henchman holds up his severed head while the other one mimes cutting his head off again, but they put a tart down first, and that somehow pleases him. It was such a stupid scene. It was such a stupid scene, and it totally undermined the setup, right? Because we see
Yeah.
the first part of the movie is just like sloppy, blood, gore, goth kids or metal kids and whatever. And then it cuts to this pristine office. And you think it's going to be okay, I don't know, he's someone interesting. And he's not. And that whole scene was just not funny. Right down to the woman under the desk the entire time. Like, just not funny.
Yeah, very juvenile, and his performance wasn't good.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
scenes look cheaper than the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
It's just so strange how they ramp this up to be all metal and cool, and then they introduce this villain and he's just completely dull.
Right. And I wrote way too over the top to be funny. They just didn't hit any notes
Yeah,
for me. But
yeah.
okay.
But anyway, Brody and Zach open up the record and they see that it's a Rick Astley album, and they're pissed.
And I love that because they literally got rickrolled. It was so funny. It's like,
Yeah, that was
wait, they
pretty
got
good.
rickrolled? That's so good. But instead they find these old ass music sheet music.
Yep. So the sheet music is the Black Hymn, and they played as a band, and all kinds of crazy shit starts happening, like people vomiting blood in the streets.
Ugh. It wasn't just people, it was everyone, and they had, like, 7 separate shots of puking blood, puking blood. It was, like, hammered into you, like, "Oh, they're still puking blood, it's still coming," and it was like projectile vomiting too. It was horrid.
Yeah. Brody meets his cousin's girlfriend, Medina, and they go on an ice cream date. And David's,
Yeah,
of course, also a huge dick to her.
of course, and he watches them.
Yeah. This was the only scene in the movie I knew about before I watched it, because I've seen this picture or like a short gif of them eating ice cream on a bench, and it's like used for memes, just because of the contrast of it. So it'll be like
Okay.
me September 31st versus October 1st or whatever.
I think I've seen that before, actually. Um, yeah, I have seen it, but I had never looked at it, very closely, so I thought it was like a zombie. Like, I thought he was a
Oh
zombie
yeah.
sitting next to her eating ice cream. So I thought it was one of those movies, you know, the Nicholas Hoult movie where he's a zombie and
Yeah,
he
warm
falls in love with
bodies.
the Warm Bodies, there we go. Yeah, so I thought it was kind of like that, um, and I guess for the most part, I went in blind. I really didn't know what I was expecting. But yeah, there's vomit everywhere. Oh, and then when they join their band, they all put on this, like, AC/DC makeup. And the guy Giles, who is, I think he's playing in the back, like, he's, like, a bassist or something. He looks like John Candy in Spaceballs.
Or as barf.
Yes, yes! That's what I was thinking. But here's where the movie sort of falls apart, right? And I went into this thinking, "Alright, this is some, like" it had a very '90s teen hijinks kinda feel to it. And so I suspended my disbelief for a lot of things, right? I came into it with not a very strict analytical lens. But it fell apart after they start playing this music because why were some people affected and others were not? Is the whole world changed or
Yeah.
not? Is it just adults? And what's actually going on with them? Are they monsters? Are they demons? Are they possessed? Like, what? It was so unclear and not explained. It was just, let's just turn people into I don't even know what they turned them into, but they were just, being as gory as possible, I guess.
The only people not affected are the characters who are relevant to the story, essentially.
Right. Right. So I was like, I don't know what these people are. Are they monsters? Are they demons? Are they possessed? What's happening?
Yeah, they're basically just deadites from Evil Dead, I think.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I think it was just whatever they needed to facilitate as much gore as they could,
Yeah.
but which accomplished. It was so gory, so gory. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was gory.
Okay, so they unleash something.
Yeah, they played the song, they unleashed something. The whole town is apparently now possessed, aside from the characters that are relevant and already introduced to the plot.
No, we're forgetting something. They play the the song at first, but they don't finish it. They
Yes.
realize like, "Oh, something weird is happening." They go about their lives, and there's drama with Medina, and she's like,
Yes.
"Hey, Zach, give Brody this note for me," because she's out of nowhere crushing on him, right? Even though she's dating his cousin and knows that his cousin is an asshole and is probably gonna give him shit for it, she's still like, "Hey, Zach, give him this note." And then Zach is like, "Yeah, sure thing, not."
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, then he shows up and is like, "Hey, he said he wasn't interested, sorry. Make out with me instead." So that's what she does.
Yeah.
But then the part where we all know his cousin is gonna give him shit because he sees him with his girlfriend, he then turns around and beats the crap out of him, which we all saw coming. But then, yeah.
Based on the bench scene just being the only thing I knew beforehand, I thought it was gonna be like a genuine kind of like, we have nothing in common, but they had like a genuine connection, and I kind of expected it to be well done, but she actually just like her motivation is just that she thinks he's cute and it's like, oh, this boy, he's cute enough, whatever. I'll date one
Yeah.
boy, make out with another, and pursue another.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I did not expect it to be like that. I thought it was gonna be a little more, like, heartfelt or genuine
Yeah.
instead of
Agreed.
just, like, whatever the plot needed her to be at that moment.
Yeah. I mean, I do kind of like that moment where she listens to the music and is, like, taken to another universe for a minute. Like, she's taken
Yeah.
away, and she's imagining herself as this, like, badass warrior character. Um, that was kind of funny and also relatable because they're just sometimes, especially I remember very well at that age having music that just kind of made you feel transcendent a little bit, and it seemed like she had a bit of a moment with that, and then that was her point where she says, "Oh, I like this, therefore I like him." I
Yeah.
mean, yes, very superficial and not at all well constructed, but, it was a path they wanted to lead us on, and so it was not that hard to follow.
So then, Brody and Zach go to Zach's house, and Zach's dad's smashing his face against, like, the garage door, and they try to get him to stop, and he's blindfolded, and they take it off, and they see that he ripped his eyes out because he's possessed by a
Yeah,
demon,
yeah.
and they,
Wait,
like, fight
no,
him off.
because that doesn't happen yet until they play the song, right?
So I thought we were past that. They
No,
already played it
because
twice.
they haven't played it twice. So after Medina makes out with Zach, then the cousin beats up Brody, and then Brody translates the title of the black hymn, and it's like demonic summoning to gain all the power, and he's like, "I'm sick of
Oh,
being walked
yeah.
on. I'm doing it." So then he has the band play the song all the way through, and this shot of the sky kind of opening up and whatever. But yeah, then they go to Zach's house. I'm not sure why, but they see his dad and he's pulled out his eyes.
Yeah, so they fight him off. I think they, like, take a belt sander to his face, and
Oh,
then he
yeah.
gets
Oh
crushed
my
by
God.
a car engine. And Brody's
Yeah.
like, should we take his pulse? And Zach's like, nah, I think he's pretty fucking dead.
Yeah. But Zach's response to his dad dying was weirdly appropriate because
Yeah.
he looks at him and he's like, yeah, I think he's dead. But then his face like contorts like he's about to cry. And then he just like pushes it away. And you could see like that's weird to have a character be that layered in that moment.
And then he's like, fuck, man. It's
Yeah.
like he suppresses it and then like tries to express it in the most metalhead way he can.
Right.
Yeah, that was one of the best little moments in this movie. That was a great performance from that actor, and it felt very believable. Probably the most depth I felt to any of these characters in any of these scenes was probably just yeah, that reaction.
Yeah. I noticed it too. It was interesting. Okay, so now they go around and they realize that people have been transformed, but it looks like it's only the people, not the landscape or anything.
Yeah.
So it's, unclear exactly how this is creating hell on earth. But maybe that's not the goal, just to summon this guy.
Again, it just I think it's basically just Evil Dead, except instead of a book, it's a piece of sheet music.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically at this point, Brody and Zach are going around killing demons. And I think they kill Brody's aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
cousin David walks in. For some reason, he's not possessed, very clearly so. And Brody straight up murders him.
Just straight up murders him. I was like, whoa, that got dark.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like an accident. It was like full on intentional first degree.
And again, Zach's
Like,
kind of
saw his
suppressing
face.
his reaction. He's just kind of like, I don't think he was dead.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, he was. Didn't you hear him? Hail Satan. He was. It was just so I don't even know if it was funny. It was just so shocking.
Yeah.
It was so shocking because it was it's like obviously you have spent the last few months fantasizing about taking a chainsaw to this kid's face. And then you just did it. Damn.
I mean, to be fair, the demons probably have more humanity than David did.
It's true. It is true. Yeah. But I did kind of want to see like how he would react to all of this if he was gonna like, you know, jump on the bandwagon and be on their team.
Oh, no, he wouldn't.
That seemed like that's what this kind of movie that seemed like that's what this kind of movie would be. No?
No, I think it would have been he immediately like tries to fight them because it's like you just murdered my
Mm,
parents, you
okay.
satanic asshole. That's what it would have been. Like you satanic motherfuckers, and then he tries to
Yeah.
kill him, and then they kill him anyway.
Okay.
So really, David's death
Okay.
was inevitable. I don't know why he wasn't possessed
Okay.
though.
I was gonna say looks like someone's sipping the Brody sauce.
I mean, this movie just
But
made David like the most irredeemably asshole character like ever.
well, yes, absolutely. Yeah. And then it cuts over to his friends at their house, and Giles and Dion are, like, trying to do their best to fend them off, and Dion's got the Hulk gloves on,
Yeah.
and they're just like yeah, they're getting, like, approached by a horde of well, not a horde, but, like, several of these creatures, and they're, like, don't know what to do, and out comes Medina out of nowhere, this trajectory that comes way out of left field did not make sense, but I was there for it. It was cool. I was like, I don't know how this is happening, but you know what? Let's do it. I like it. I like her.
Yeah. So apparently Medina is just like an absolute badass with an axe. And
Yeah.
I heard that this actress, A, was a Power Ranger, and B, was a fan of Buffy. So she was like hyped
Oh,
to just be a badass at this part of the movie.
okay. That works.
I mean, it does kind of have
Awesome.
those vibes of when Buffy gets the axe and is just a badass with an axe for no reason now. But I mean, she also has superpowers,
Yes.
essentially. Or maybe, yeah, maybe a little bit of
Right.
a reference, especially since one of the characters' name is Giles.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Good call. I mean, I immediately thought of Buffy when I heard Giles, but I didn't think of Buffy seeing her with that axe. That's silly. But yeah, she was great. It didn't make sense, and I loved it. But yeah. So, okay. So then they're like, we should go to the school because that's the safest place to be. Okay, let's leave a note for Brody and Zach.
And of course, Brody and Zach show up, and Zach just gets rid of the note because he's a total dickhead.
And that is never explained.
Yeah,
Like that one thing he does is never explained. I get him being like, nah, he's not good enough for this girl. She's way too hot for him and being like a dickhead frenemy or whatever. Like, I understand that rationale, but this doesn't make any sense. Why would he just to avoid him connecting with her and learning the truth? Is that the goal?
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. He hides the note, so they're on their own for a little bit longer.
Okay, and then sometime around here, we go back to Aeon, and he's talking to a demon saying he wants to be the vessel for Aeloth. And he basically makes the demon an ultimatum, be like, on one condition, I'll get that thing and destroy it, because that's what Aeloth needs him to do. And then he's just stabbed in the back by his underling.
The lady
Yeah,
who was under the table,
yeah, his acolyte
which,
Shanna.
yeah, whatever. I like didn't care about that. We didn't even really get any scenes with him. In fact, he never even confronts the main protagonists.
Yeah,
He never like they never meet. So, I don't know. I wasn't really into him. He was lackluster for me.
yeah, it goes beyond that for me. I absolutely just hated that he was in this movie. He added nothing to it. It would have been better just to have random cultists and just not go into the hierarchy at all. Just there's cultists and they murder people and they're after the black ham. That's all you needed. This guy Aeon and this girl Shana, they had nothing.
Yeah, they really didn't. So then Zach and Brody decide that they need weapons.
Oh yeah.
And at some point, Zach straps 2 chainsaws to his hands. And for the life of me, I was like, this is not possible. And I couldn't stop thinking that. I was like, chainsaws are so heavy. You can't do this. And he's like dual wielding these 2 chainsaws like they're made of paper. And I'm just the whole time I was looking like, this is so unrealistic. I cannot stop thinking about it.
Once again, I feel like that's just an Evil Dead reference because Ash gets a chainsaw hand.
Yeah. There were other references too, because I wrote down there's one point where he is like in a semicircle with all these creature things, and he slices them up, does a whole bunch of stuff. Then he like jumps in the air and he lands, and the camera shot is like very close to his face. And in the background, all the bodies like collapse. And that is a scene that I didn't look it up because I didn't know how to like reverse engine look up a scene, but I'm pretty sure it was from Equilibrium. Did you ever see Equilibrium?
Nope.
Oh, it's great. You should watch it. Christian Bale, and he's just this like unstoppable melee fighter who has just learned everything to be like the top and the peak and the most perfect. But yeah, that shot where he jumps and then lands really reminded me of Equilibrium. And then also there's another part where Zach stands up and his hair is like hanging in his face, and it's very like Brandon Lee in The Crow. Did you catch those scenes too? So
Yeah.
there were definitely a whole bunch of movie references, which was cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of references here. And the whole the stylization and the floating text all reminded me of Scott Pilgrim. I feel like he's definitely this guy is a big Edgar Wright fan. He's definitely trying to make an Edgar Wright
Okay.
movie.
I didn't see Scott Pilgrim Must Die, so I don't know.
Okay. So have you seen any Edgar Wright movies?
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, you haven't seen Shaun of the Dead. You haven't seen
Yeah,
Hot
no, I
Fuzz.
haven't.
Wow.
I'll get around to it eventually. But okay, so they somehow lose track of all of these all the sheet music. And they figure out, well, I don't know if they figure it out. They just sort of take a wild guess. If we play the music in reverse, we should be able to like close the gate and stop this ritual. But something happens and the sheet music blows all over the town.
Yeah.
I don't remember how it happens. And so then Brody and Zach go on this page finding mission to collect all of these sheets of music and come back and hopefully play the song in reverse. But
Yep.
yeah, so their whole campaign while they're trying to do this, that's where all the dual wielding chainsaw stuff happens. And there's a crazy scene where they're fighting with dildos. I think that might have been back at his house.
Yeah. I feel like there were actually several scenes where they
Yeah,
fight with sex
um
toys.
and still,
There's one where like I think he sticks two vibrators into his
yeah,
aunt's head to kill her.
yeah,
And then Zach like rearranges his aunt and uncle's corpse so they're like
yeah,
69ing. And Brody's like, "What the fuck, man?" He's like, "They were
yeah,
like that."
crazy. Lots of gore, and then just all kinds of I don't know, just like stomach wrenching things happening, like people getting split into
Yeah.
from different directions, like from the center of their groins, like penises getting cut off and heads getting split, the necks getting split, and like the blood just pouring out. It was just so much all happening, and these two high school students are fully taking it in stride. They are
Yeah.
embracing their death metal fantasy right now throughout this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many things that in any other movie would like obviously be something you write down, but if I wrote down every weird, fucked up, gory thing that happened in this movie, it would fill at least two notebook pages.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, but then, okay, they do all this stuff and they realize that they can't play it because his amps are blown. And so he remembers having seen amps at Ricky Dagger's house and is like, I know where there's some amps. And so they all head over there, presumably to hook up their gear and play this song,
Yep.
but they're ambushed.
Yep. Yeah. So Shanna steals the sheets and rips them apart and kidnaps
Right.
them.
Ties them up. And at this point, Zach has pieced out because he and Brody get into a fight. Because he finds out,
He found his jacket in Medina's purse and then learns the whole thing because she tells him, "Well, you weren't interested." And of course he was. So he pieces out. They're all kidnapped. They're about to die. And then Brody shows back up. Now he's got corpse paint on and
but he leaves and is like, fuck you guys, I hate your guts. And then he shows back up and is like, I came back for my, yeah, came back for my mates. It's like, now you're mates again? Whatever.
yeah, it was a very weak redemption arc
Yeah.
here, I think.
And then I wrote, poor Dion. I did not expect the meek and mild mannered one to just get ripped apart. Like I don't know. I just felt like there should have been
Yeah.
a little bit of plot armor for them, those two like background goofy dudes, but there wasn't.
Yeah, I hated
Yeah,
this.
it was weird.
Yup. Yeah, so Dion and Giles just get murdered. It's very, both of them just abrupt. I guess you kind of know it's coming for Giles after it happens to Dion
Yeah.
because he was even less of a relevant character. But yeah, they just like throw out the nerds like they're trash. Like, this movie isn't
Yeah.
about you. This movie's
Yeah.
about metalheads. Get
The
the fuck
nerds
out
that
of here.
were
I
their like
hated it, man.
loyal friends. Dion was so about that friend group.
Yeah, it's like Zach was a total asshole the whole time and had like one or two moments where they were like genuinely friends. And Dion was loyal the whole movie since like the second he moved into town and they just throw him away like he's trash.
Yeah. Yeah,
And there's not even much reaction to it.
I know.
They just kind of move
I
on.
was so sad. I was like, I'm not.
And oh, and they're like, oh, we can't play the song now because
Oh, right.
we're not a whole band.
Yeah.
Like, never mind that our friends were brutally murdered. We're not a whole band. We don't have a drummer and a keyboard player.
Yeah. Um, yeah. But then, okay, so after Zach comes, saves the day, kills a bunch of demons, and then he ends up killing that girl, they realize he kills the acolyte who takes Aeon's place. And then they realize,
Yeah,
oh,
so they had to play the song in reverse before 3 a.m.
oh,
So
right,
it clock struck 3 a.m. and she turned into a demon. But right as she turned into a demon, she gets impaled from behind by Zach.
right.
So the demon enters the next most evil person in the room, and it's Zach.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. Um, so he full on turns into this demon. There's no like
Yep.
he's not in transition. He's like totally there. And I gotta say, that teleporting was so cool. I honestly was like, okay, this is the best part of the movie. The fact that that demon immediately was like, I'm here, I'm here. I think it was well done. And I blinked and he was on the other side of the room. It was cool.
Yeah, so they have their boss fight against Zach, and then Zach briefly regains control, and he's like, "You just gotta kill me." Brody doesn't want to do it, but he does, and he slits his throat with a razor,
Mm. And
which
that's the
is
end.
kind of a callback because when they first met, they cut their palms with razors, and then became blood brothers.
Right.
So I think that's probably a callback, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would guess so. But let's not forget that because he doesn't have the sheet music, the way he brings him back is just by playing a random, like, metal riff. And
Oh
he
yeah,
specifically says afterwards, "The metal brought him back." And I was like, "Shut up. You're so corny." But he's like, "The metal
yeah.
brought him back," and it brings him back just enough to facilitate the ending, which is Zach is killed and the demon is apparently vanquished. And then we have a small epilogue
Okay,
where
but wait. Pause for a
yes,
minute. Why does this work? Why can't Alof just now jump into Brody?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I really didn't
And I
think it was going
feel
to
like
be.
the defense people would probably offer up is that he's not evil enough. But Brody committed a murder. So I don't want to
Yeah.
hear that bullshit from anyone.
Yeah. He killed someone.
So yeah, it makes
Uh
no sense. He already did he was already in a girl. She died. He jumped to the next most evil person. Clearly
yeah.
Brody's up next.
Yeah.
That should have been the ending. It
That
should
would
have
have been
been
a
a
good
twist
ending.
ending.
Yeah. That would have been a good ending. Brody's also the one who manipulates them into playing this music anyway, and he
Yeah,
does it for power.
yeah,
Yeah. So, okay, we're not sure why it works. I wasn't sure why it worked either. I figure it was just they wanted to end the movie in that way. So,
yeah, basically.
um yeah, then we get a short epilogue where Medina and Brody are laying in bed and she is of course metalled out with her hair and her black makeup and she's
Yeah.
smoking a cigarette and she looks total badass
And she got a
and
tattoo, which he
she
mentioned
oh, that's
earlier. Like, I would
right.
get a tattoo. So she gets like a tattoo of herself wielding an axe.
Yeah, does make sense.
Okay. And it's not even like it's like the full like Valkyrie thing she was really fantasizing about earlier. It's just kind of like her with an axe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like she
And
could have leaned into the Viking thing, but that was corny to me.
absolutely. But then she leaves to go to class or work or something, and then he gets up
Yep.
and he hears the demon's voice on a vinyl that he's playing,
Yep.
and then Zach's voice comes in and is like, "Oh, just kidding."
I was just fucking with you.
Yeah, it doesn't and then it ends, and it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. So now he just lives in the music? What?
Well, I guess he's a demon now because there's the whole thing where you play records backwards and there's demon messages or whatever. I
Oh,
guess
I
is
see.
what they're going for there. But
Okay.
have you ever seen Idle Hands?
Yes, a long time ago.
It almost reminded me of that because it's like your friend dies, but he's still your friend. He's just dead now,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Which
Um,
this movie did have some kind of idle hand vibes, I think,
oh,
at
definitely. There was
times.
a huge, like well, it was this was like, "You're all just a bunch of Satan worshipers," whereas Idle Hands was, "You're all just a bunch of stonehead slackers."
Yeah.
Pothead slackers.
Stop.
I meant to say stoner, and then I meant to say pothead, and it just came out it just came out stonehead, whatever.
Those stonehead kids.
But, yeah, so okay, so that's our plot, and
Yes.
here we go. Did you look up this director?
Yeah, so I saw that he did after this he did Guns Akimbo, which I'm interested in watching.
Oh, yeah, I would totally watch that. Okay.
And I guess since he's a New Zealander, of course he has to be connected to Lord of the Rings, and apparently he did some special effects in the Lord of the Rings movies.
Okay.
It's like the
Okay.
entire film industry of New Zealand has some kind of connection to those movies, I swear.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
But yet there wasn't too much else on there
Okay. So he's not just like, no name, has done nothing else since this, because this was from
except for
2015
Guns
and Guns
Akimbo.
Akimbo was from a couple years ago. So
Yeah.
he's obviously still doing things. Yeah, I would absolutely watch Guns Akimbo. It seems fun. Okay. And then, I mean, I think we pretty much already went over what we knew about it going in, which was I knew next to nothing, and you had seen that scene where they were sitting on the park bench. Um, and I'm the one who chose this movie, and I didn't choose it for any reason except that I saw it like come through the Roku horror list, and I had done this thing where Roku horror had been pulling up movies that I had never heard of, and I just assumed, yeah, these are all probably like B-rate straight to TV things. But I wrote them all down anyway, and I was like, there's got to be some gems in this list. So that's where I got this one from. And I was a little bit nervous based on the title. I have to I have to be honest here. I was a little bit nervous based on the title. But, it didn't disappoint. I think I'm I'm neither happy nor upset that I chose it. It's kind of a middle of the road for me. So, overall impression for you?
I didn't like it.
At all?
Not really.
Okay.
So I
Um,
really like horror comedies. I can't think of one that I really like less than this.
okay. Fair.
The humor was extremely juvenile. Like this is a movie, a rated R movie for 14-year-old metalheads.
I could see that.
Like if you love gore and dick jokes, man, this is the movie for you.
Yeah.
I did like some of the gore moments, but it got so heavy-handed where it's like, oh, now he's sticking a chainsaw up someone's ass. Oh, now they're fighting with dildos. It's like it was tiresome how juvenile it was at times. And the characters were so one-dimensional and they just didn't have heart. No one's relationships had any weight except for maybe Dion's loyalty.
Oh, Beyond. Yeah. Um, I honestly have to say I have no opinion about it. I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. Um, and I think that what you say resonates with me and makes sense as to it's consistent with me not liking it and not hating it because I generally block out juvenile humor. I just don't pay attention to it. And I think that's kind of how I felt about this movie. While I do think I was very entertained by the shock value because it was just one thing after another, and I was and it wasn't very long, it was maybe an hour and a half, and I was watching, and every time something outrageous happened, I was kinda like, "Oh my god." And, I had a beer or 2 when I was drinking it, so it was a fun experience for some of it, but then there were times when I was like, I can't watch this. I just can't. There's just too much blood. Oh my god." But yeah, so I didn't immediately think this is very juvenile. I just immediately thought, next, next scene. Like I'm not paying attention to this because that's just how I approach juvenile humor, I think.
But it it wasn't just the humor, I think, that's juvenile. I think it's also just like the relationships between the characters and just the writing as a whole. It's like everything is because the plot needs it to happen, and there isn't anything more to it. There isn't anything deeper to it. There isn't really any heart to it. You would expect it to be like a love letter to the metal culture, but it seems feels kind of like surface level in its metalness.
Yeah.
I said in Bloodsucking Bastards, I said its biggest problem was that it could have just used a little something more. But I gave that movie a 4 because I really liked it. This also has that issue, but everything needed a little more. Every single aspect was a little lacking except for like the gore.
Yeah. Okay. So I wonder if now that I'm thinking about it, this is eh, this is the case where the director maybe didn't wanna be ambitious for fear of failing. Because it sort of felt like, "This is stupid, but it's meant to be stupid, and so you can't be mad at me that
Yeah.
my characters aren't that developed," or you know what I mean? Because clearly there was material here that could have maybe taken itself a little more seriously and could have been a more polished movie, but instead, we have this, eh, just kind of farcical metalhead gore thing, and I wonder if maybe that's what's happening, where the director's sort of shooting himself in the foot a little bit because he doesn't wanna be critiqued too much about something like this. And I have to also say that I do find it challenging when I immediately realize this movie isn't supposed to be taken seriously. I find it challenging to rate it, really, because I feel like my
Yeah.
rating scale, is a my rating scale applies to movies that they obviously want you to take them seriously. And I don't think that's something I that's not a hard line rule for me, but I think that's the default assumption that you're rating a movie because it takes itself seriously and it has a goal and it wants to be taken seriously. And this doesn't. And so I never think, "Oh, that sucked," because I feel like it's outside of the system that I would ordinarily think of. It's that's why it's challenging for me, and that's why maybe I just had a blank slate when it came to thinking of whether I liked it or not, because I thought, "Who cares? They don't care if I like it or not. They just want me to watch it." You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being too gracious. Maybe I'm being too gracious. Maybe I should be like, "This fucking sucked."
I feel like it just wasn't very self-aware of its own shortcomings because most movies would at least like lampshade it and be like, yeah, we know this is cheesy. We know these are like shallow characters, but it doesn't even like do anything like that. It just seems to go with the most obvious, most stereotypical, most one-dimensional version of these characters and their relationships and do nothing to subvert it, nothing to show they're self-aware and nothing to make it more interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, I think that's a very good observation because like I said, I never expected this movie to be self-aware. I mean, I thought it was just, "We have a camera and some ideas, so let's just make a movie. Oh, and we have a box of sex toys, so let's make a movie." Um,
I've also just seen this coming up online, like, a lot, and it seemed like people liked it. It got pretty good reviews on, like, Rotten Tomatoes and stuff, so I was expecting a little more. I was expecting it to be, like, maybe on par with Idle Hands, which I like much, much more than this, or on par
right,
with other horror comedies. At least,
right.
like, maybe on Bloodsucking Bastards levels, but no, I don't think this is anywhere close to as good as Bloodsucking Bastards was.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with that. I did like Bloodsucking Bastards more, and I thought about that movie in terms of, "Do I like this? I like what's happening." You know, I had critical thoughts about it. I looked at it with an analytical focus because that was the kind of movie I took it to be. Okay. So, I've already said that my favorite part of the movie was the teleportation. And then what I don't know if you had a favorite part. We talked a little bit about Zach reacting to his dad's death, but did anything else stand
Yeah,
out
I
as
would
like a good
say
moment?
that was probably my actual favorite part. I did also like the bench scene. I liked Brody. He did feel like he had a little heart when he was talking about how metal makes him feel better. Those are like the only two moments really where I felt like a genuine emotion coming out of the character.
Yeah. Like he could be a real person,
Yeah.
right? Because you're right. The rest of the dialogue made everyone seem cartoony. Um,
Yes.
and then that's probably the reason I didn't take it seriously. But yeah, there is definitely that moment on the bench where they're talking and it feels like they're real people talking to each other. So, okay, very nice. So, did we learn anything from this aside from maybe I don't just pluck random horror movies off of Roku?
You know what I learned? Is that this did the music summoning the end of the world thing a couple months before the Black Tapes podcast started.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that
Wow.
funny? Same year, just 2 months earlier, this movie came out, and then the Black Tapes would come out and do like a serious play on
Yeah.
a rock band causing the end of the world with demonic music.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Um, I don't know what I learned. I mean, I guess what I just said, I learned that I have times where I think a movie is unrateable, and I think it doesn't take itself seriously enough to warrant me imparting my judgment on it. And I don't know, I might have to come up with a system for dealing with those kinds of movies. I'll
This
have
is
the star system, and then I'll have the separate this is an unrateable on a scale of 1 through 5, something like that. Okay, so next week we are starting our Spooktober Watchathon, where Brian and I and some of our other friends, we watch well, the goal is we watch a movie a day for the entire month of October, and we end last year we ended with a movie last year we ended with, Late Night with the Devil, which was so, so good.
Oh, that was a good ending.
Yeah, really good ending, but we strive to have the Halloween movie be really good.
We failed the year before that.
We did fail the year before that. I forgot what it was.
I forget if it was There's Something Wrong with the Children or if it was the rabbit one.
Oh, I think it was the rabbit one because that's the one I didn't watch.
Yeah, I was the
Ugh.
only one who watched our movie that year for the
Yeah.
for the finale.
Well, I'm glad I got to watch Late Night with the Devil because it was a perfect Halloween movie. It was so, so good.
Yeah.
But this year, because, we are doing this podcast, we're gonna incorporate those movies into our reviews. So we're gonna give you 3 short movie reviews for the movies we have chosen for that week. So what are the movies we're gonna be choosing for next week, Brian?
All right. Next week we'll be doing Piranha from 1978, Bad Moon from 1996, and The Void from 2017.
Okay, awesome. And I know nothing about Piranha or Bad Moon. The Void you and I have seen, and we both remember nothing about it, but remember we both liked it, so I'm excited to have that.
Those cosmic horrors are pretty incomprehensible, so of course we forgot.
Yeah. But I'm pretty excited to have our memories refreshed and know that I'm gonna at least have one good movie experience next week.
Yeah,
But anyway, I think that's all I have to add. If you have anything else?
I'm good.
Alrighty.
Until next time.
Until next time. This podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share Alike 4.0 International License. For additional information and other media content, visit theferalthread.com. Thanks for listening. Until next week.